Welcome back to Open Line. We have with us elder law attorney Tim Takis. We are talking about the difficulties associated with caring for an elderly loved one, whether it be a mother, father, spouse. We want to hear your stories. What Tim does, elder law, is essentially helping people get through that, plan for it in a whole bunch of ways, but financially especially. And we were talking about the high cost of nursing home care. We'll get back to that, but I want to go to a call here. Let's go to Jerry. Hello, Jerry. Jerry, are you there? Jerry? Hello? All right, we'll come back to you, Jerry, I promise. Just hold on. It sounds like we surprised Jerry.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
We surprised Jerry. We'll be right back, Jerry. All right, the high cost of nursing home care. $8,000 a month.
$8,000 a month.
People are worried about losing their house often. What do you do? You talked about gifting money. So let's say somebody has built some money up over their whole life. They want to try and hold on to it. They want to try and give some to their kids, yet they have an obligation. You know, they have to go to a nursing home, $8,000 a month. What do you do there?
Well, certainly, I mean, it kind of goes without saying is that if you plan ahead, you know, maybe you will avoid that having to always deal with a crisis. I mean, that's certainly, but that's not really the that's not really the question that you have, right? The question is, you know, you wake up today and you have a stroke and you're going, now what do I do? I've got to go to a nursing home, you know, and I've not planned for anything. Maybe I've got wills and powers of attorney. That's it. And I own a house and I got $100,000 or whatever it is. Now what do I do? See, then you're looking at, as I talked about just before the break, is if you have a spouse, the rules when I say you can only have $2,000. Don't panic if you're a spouse, because you have a lot more options. In fact, it's very seldom when we are representing spouses where one of them is needing nursing home care, you know, that we have to do a significant amount of spend down. Okay. I mean, which is what it's called. You know, do we have to, you know, spouses come in, well, we got a house and $100,000. Do we have to spend everything on the nursing home? No, probably you're not going to have to spend anything. You know, because we know that there are options that it's basically about how do we protect the estate, you know, the money for the spouse who's still living at home and may have many years ahead of her or him. Right. But it's the single individual or widowed individual who has no spouse, you know, has, you know, they're looking at, we got a house, what are we going to do with it? We got money in the bank, do we spend the money on the house, but at the same time, when mom or dad is on Medicaid and then they pass away, then the state gets the money. They can sell the house and repay themselves. To my knowledge, Medicaid is the only public benefits program that requires payback. Okay. You know, and it comes out of your estate when you die. Now, you don't have to pay more than what was owed, and if what the house was worth, you know, is less than what's owed, you know, then the state there's nothing left for the state. But that's the thing is that, you know, you don't have a lot of options. Right. You know, I always tell people, I say the easiest people to plan for is they walk into our office, or their family does, and they've been in a nursing home for a year, and they have no house and they have money. Right. Because we don't have to plan for them going home. Right. You know, we don't have to say, well, do we buy, you know, do we put money into the house? They don't have a house. Mostly then it's about how do we take care of them. There are certain types of trust that we can move money into that the state permits, so that they can have supplemental care if they need it. Like, you know, the eyeglasses, the dental care, other things maybe that the Medicaid program doesn't pay for, private rooms, sitters, all those sorts of things. So those are kind of things that tools that we have and that are within the law, you know, that we utilize. But apart from that, there's often not really many options to talk about saving a significant amount of money. Right. You just have to pay it. All right, let's go to Jerry. Hello, Jerry.
Speaking.
Go right ahead. What's your question?
Well, my question is this. I'm 73. I'll be 74 years old 1st September. Had a heart attack 7 years ago, put 2 stents in me. 3 years ago, they put a pacemaker in me. I'm on Medicare Part A and B, but I'm on Cigna Health Spring. I can't use my Medicare. I can't get no Medicaid. My health is in real bad condition. I need teeth and stuff like that fixed, and I can't get it down because I'm on a fixed income, son. And the government, they're telling me, you know, I know $1,050 a month.
Okay, you draw $1,050 a month, Social Security?
Yeah, that's Social Security, and I get a small pension from the service, sir. That's combined together.
Okay. So are you a veteran, Jerry?
Yes, sir, I am. I spent 7 years in the service. I spent 12 months overseas.
Well, that's one of the things that he may want to look into, because if he's a veteran, the veteran has a lot of programs, and if he's not taking advantage of that,
right?
And what I would recommend that Jerry do is to talk to a veteran service officer. He didn't say where he lived, but every county that I know of in Middle Tennessee has a veteran service officer. And what the VSOs is what we call them. What they do is that they meet with veterans, they meet with spouse or widows of veterans perhaps, and talk to the VSO about with the individual about what benefits that could be available to them. And Jerry may be surprised. We've had clients that have come in that they never gave 2 seconds worth of thought to being a veteran because they were in the service in the 50s.
Right, right.
And they may wind up with prescription drug relief, maybe minimal co-payments for medications, all those sorts of things. In fact, we had one client, I believe he was in Camp Lejeune, and we established that he potentially has an illness that was caused by something that was in the water there in Camp Lejeune. So we got him a better priority group for the VA. And so now he's entitled to more benefits, and he never thought that he'd have anything at all from the VA.
That's one of the things you do. When somebody comes in, you ask, okay, let's go over some things. Maybe there's some money here that you don't know you're entitled to, or here. Veterans certainly is a big one. I mean, are there some other areas that people just don't think about? I guess there might be some money there, or grants, or whatever there may be the case.
And I would also suggest to Jerry that he call the Greater Nashville Regional Council. And I'm sorry I don't have the phone number, but they're the area agency on aging and disability, and they serve the Middle Tennessee area. And that would basically, they're kind of like what they sort of purport to be like the no wrong door, or the single door of entry, or whatever it is. You call the Greater Nashville Regional Council, and he says, "Well, I was talking to Tim and Ben on OpenLine, and they said to call you." And then he gives them their story. He gives them their story. And their job is to figure out, okay, what direction does he need to be in?
Right. So there are those things out there. All right. So that's very important. And then, before we go to break, when we're talking about money and houses and that kind of thing, people are like, well, you got into it, the gifting of money, or what can I do that's kind of tricky, or whatever. What Mom wants to save her money, she wants to give me some money, she wants to put the house in my name, she wants to do this or that.
Yeah, and one of the things like we talked about is, okay, if you give money away or property away, the general rule is that if it's a 5-year look-back period, and the look-back period basically means if you give the house away on July 11, 2017, it means that you can't get Medicaid until July 11, 2022. Is that right? Yeah, 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
I mean, so if you decide that you want to get Medicaid in 2021 because you need it, you're going to have to wait another year. But sometimes, if you have, like for instance, we have people that walk into our office, they have a house, they have $250,000, maybe they're living in assisted living, and it may be that they're going, well, I hope that I can stay here for the rest of my life, and we talk to them and say, well, maybe that's a reasonable projection for you if you take care of yourself and let them take care of you. So we may put a plan in place for them that maybe we transfer some of those assets into a trust. That starts a 5-year look-back period.
Okay. Now,
maybe they make it for 5 years, but maybe they don't. So maybe after 4 years they wind up in a nursing home. Well, that means they pay privately for 1 year. Whereas if they had done nothing and they had come to us 4 years later and saying, "Oh, I've got a house and $300,000. Now what should I do? I'm in the nursing home." It's like that's like the pre-planning that we were talking about.
Right. And from talking to you, I know you're not big on just giving something to your kids.
Right.
it's a dangerous thing to do.
If you and you're certainly welcome to ask me. You know, the question from Ben would be, I'm over here and well, you know, do you tell people to give money to their kids?
Yes, that's my question.
Right, and Tim would say, I can't remember the last time I've ever had a client where they just say, give, you know, here, counsel them to give anything away.
Right.
I mean,
even if it's to your kids, and
right.
they would say, well,
we're going to hold it for you.
Yeah, we're going to hold it for you.
Okay, now, remember about children, you know, I know you got children, I guess, you know, I don't know if they're little or...
they're little.
They're little.
Yeah.
You know, is that children are the most unreliable people on the planet.
Okay.
You know, and I know sometimes, you know, when I tell that to my clients, they laugh.
They laugh, but their mouth is,
but
what?
They go, what? What
Not
did you
my
say?
children.
And it's like, not my children, but the point there is that, okay, here, okay, you give $50,000 to your son. Okay, it's $50,000. Now, and the son says, well, I'll hold it for you, Mom. Well, you know, and maybe the son will. But then what's going to happen is, okay, the son, you know, his child is going to need braces. His child's going to need something. You know, there's going to be some reason why he can't give it back.
Right.
And the rationale or the justification is that, well, I know Mom would want us to use this money so that my son can have whatever. Mm-hmm. Or there's something going to be on. I mean, and I'm not saying that every child would do that.
Right.
But you do this often enough.
You see it, I bet.
Yeah.
You see it a lot. And now that's the situation where they intentionally go into the money and say, well, I know Mom would want this. But there are these other situations that could still wind up with the money going away.
Well, like for instance, you know, the son says, oh, I'll hold the money for you, Mom. And then the son rides down the road and hits a bus full of school children.
Yeah.
You know, and he goes, well, that $50,000 isn't mine, that's Mom's, you know, and the parents of those children go, well, it sure's got your name on and it's going to be used to take care of my child, you know, that you injured.
Or he gets a divorce.
He gets a divorce.
And it's like, well, that's for Mom.
Right.
But that's half his money.
Bad things happen to children. That's what I say. Yeah, you have Mom sitting over there in an assisted living, and we think bad things going to happen to her. So she gives money, $100,000 to the son who's married. I mean, who knows how he's been married 3 times. So maybe this one will stick.
That one's going to stick. That third one will stick.
He's got children who range from 2 years old to 27. You know, and there's a risk. You know, he's at risk because what if his wife goes out and hits a bus full of school children? He's responsible.
Right.
So now, see, you're now multiplying risk.
So you're crazy to give your money to your kids.
Yeah, and our job, you know, a lot of times, and I told that to a family this morning, I said, our job is to help you manage risk. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't think bad things are going to happen. Like the family that we had this afternoon, Daddy's got all this money, and he's got $130,000 in a money market account. It's in his name and his 2 children's name. Joint owners. You know, they're co-owners.
Right.
Now, why did they do that? Well, probably because they were told, well, you need access to the money, then each of the children will be able to get access. When Daddy dies, you know, then the money's going to go right to them. All they have to do is go to the bank and pull the money out. Well, what if one of the children dies before he does? Mm-hmm. Now you've disinherited that child's children. Right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, that's how things happen, because they don't ever think they're going to predecease their parent.
Right.
But if they do, they've just they have disinherited their children, you know, from their share of those funds, because now the money belongs to Daddy, you know, and the other sibling.
Right.
You know, and they just have to depend on, well, maybe Daddy does die next, and then they're hoping that their other sibling will make sure that, you know, that their children, you know, will get their share.
This is one of those things, I know you get a lot of questions about it. We get questions about it. Yeah, when do you do it? And you have a solid answer.
Yeah.
Never.
Never. Yeah.
But there are people who will say all day long, no, this is the right thing to do for my family. You know, we're going to do it for this reason, that reason.
Now, the reason that you give, and this is, you know, if you want to take, you know, here's my little takeaway for all of you is that you give out of love and not fear. Right. Right. Yeah, if you want to give to your child, just do it. If you want your child to have money because you want them to have it, you know, then you give it to them. Mm-hmm. You know, but you don't say, well, hold it for me, I'm worried I'll go to the nursing home, because that just doesn't, They're better solutions. If what you're trying to accomplish is to protect the money, that's why we use a trust. If you want your children to go to college or grandchildren or whatever it is and you want to give them money, just write a check.
And all right, we need to take a break. I want to talk about all that, trust,
Yes.
but also I want to talk about wills.
Okay.
And the need for wills. It's always one of my favorite conversations. So, all right, if you have any questions, give us a call, 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. Also, any story, any question about a will or a family member you're caring for, whatever the case, give us a call. Be back right after this.